start off giving all praises due to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah. Double honors to the elders of JMS pushing this word. A salutation to all the brothers around the four corners of the world pushing this truth. Shalom. This is Brother Shema. I want to do a breakdown of the word of Yahweh in our lives today. So I'm going to just do a quick video for edification for all the brothers. The word of Yahweh in our life today. And there's 6 subjects, small subjects. One is restraint. The second one is guide. The third one is source of joy. The fourth one is the standard of conduct, how we should live. The fifth one is source of new life. And the sixth one is spiritual food. So I'm just going to do a couple of scriptures on that. And the first one is we're going to go over is restraint. Restraint. And that's in Psalms 119. Because the word of Yahweh is a restraint for us in our life, and it's a good thing. You know, it helps us from going against the laws to the best of our ability. Psalms 119, 9 to 11. Psalms 119, 9 to 11. Verse 9. Wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereto according to thy word. So that's a restraint, you know, and it's a good restraint. You know, some people look at a restraint as bad, but we know through the word of the Bible that restraint gives us a certain conduct, you know, in a way, things that we shouldn't do that benefits us. Verse 10, with my whole heart have I sought thee. Oh, let me not wander from thy commandments. Because what happens when we wander from the commandments? Look at Israel and their status today. We all jacked up. We all messed up. You know, because we didn't have this word in our life, which would have been a restraint for things for us not to fall into the snares and traps that the devil put out there for us. That's why you need restraint. And this Bible was a restraint for us. Oh, let me not wander from my commandments. Verse 11. Thy word have I hid in my heart, that I might not sin against thee. So, what it says here, verse 11, thy word have I hid in my heart, that I might not sin against thee. So you took that word and you cherished it. You know what I'm saying? So you didn't sin against the Most High. And that's what we should do. So it's a restraint. That's all on restraint. The next one is guide. Is guide. How this word is a guide for us in our lives. And we're going to start with Psalms 119 again, but this is verse 33. Psalms 119, verse 133. Salakia. Psalms 119, 133. Psalms 119, 133. And it reads, order my steps in thy word, and let not any iniquity have dominion over me. Order my steps in thy word, and let not any iniquity have dominion over me. So when we order that, when he says order my steps in that word, and let not any iniquity have dominion over me, how do you do that? Through the word, because the word is a guide for us. And without this word, we astray. It keeps you in check. So that's the guide for us. So the word is a guide for us. Now we're going to go to, we're still on this topic of guide now. Now we're going to go to Psalm 17 and 5. Let's read that. Psalms chapter 17, verse 5. Psalms chapter 17, verse 5. Hold up my goings in thy paths, that my footsteps slip not. So, this is a guide for us. And when we don't go about it, we slip up. You know, we fall into the traps and the snares that's out there. And that's why another thing too, that when we obeyed the law, statute, and commandments, it made us separate from the nation. It made us greater and better than the nations. You know, so it was a guide for us to make a distinction between us, who the Most High have favor in, which is in Deuteronomy chapter 7 verse 5. When you read on down, that it's separated us. It's made us greater. These laws from the Most High made us greater and better than the nation. So what it says again, Psalm 17 and 5, hold up my goings and not pass, that my footsteps slip not. Okay? And now Psalms 19 verse 13 on guides. Why we need the guide from the Most High. Psalms 19 verse 13. Psalms 19 verse 13. Keep back thy servant also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then shall I be upright, and I shall be innocent from the great transgressions. You see that? Because without this, we don't have no guidance. So when you bring out what is it, 1 John 3 and 4, what is sin? Sin is transgression against the law. Let me get that. 1 John 3 and 4. There it is. 1 John chapter 3 verse 4. Whosoever commits sin transgress also the law, for sin is the transgression of law. So let's go back to Psalm 19:13. Keep back thy servant also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then shall I be upright, and I shall be innocent from thy great transgression. Because see, when we don't have this word, we start going off into the left hand. And we start doing things that's crazy. But see, with the laws and statute commandments, if you ponder over them and you meditate on them, it'll help you get over that hump. It'll help you to the best of your ability not to sin. That's why I said sin is transgression of the law. And that's why if we meditate on this, it'll keep us, like I said before, it made us separate and different and greater from the nation, because we're above the nation. But now we're not above the nation is because why? Because we're into the curses right now. Because we don't have no guide. And the guide is Yahweh Hashem and Yahweh Shah and his son, the record, the book. Okay. And the next one is Romans chapter 6. Romans chapter 6, 12 to 14. Romans chapter 6, 12 to 14. Let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body. Now how would you do that? You have to meditate day and night upon the scriptures, on the Most High's word, that you should obey it in the lust thereof. Neither yield your members as instruments of unrighteousness unto sin, but yield yourself unto Yahweh, his word, his book, as he said, he comes in the volume of the book, as those that are alive from the dead, and your members are as instruments of righteousness unto Yahweh. Yeah. In verse 14, for sin shall not have dominion over you, because you have the Most High's word. That's the only way sin cannot have dominion over you. You have to stay in his word. The word is a protection for you. When you study it and meditate on day and night and believe in it and turn towards the east and pray, and if you're doing the right thing, the Most High will work with you. For you are not under the law, but under grace. Yes. How are we under grace? Through Mashiach Yahushua. You know? And that doesn't mean that we just say, oh, okay, now Yahweh is here, we could break the laws. No, that don't mean that. We still rehearse the righteous acts to the best of our ability. But right now we're under the time of grace. Let me read that again. For sin shall not have dominion over you, if you stay in the word. For you are not under the law, but under grace. And if you remember, during the time of the laws, which the law still exists, but as soon as you made an error in the laws, boom, instantly you be put to death. But what? Mashiach Yahweh, you have grace. You can repent from that. Okay? Now, that's on guide. Remember, the topic is the word. How is the word of Yahweh, the word of Yahweh in our life, how it benefits us? And I use 6 small topics. I use restraint, guide, source of joy, standard of conduct, source of new life, and spiritual food. So this is how the Most High Word, how does it benefits us? So I went over restraint already. I just finished guide. Now I'm going to go on the source of joy. The source of joy. Now, the source of joy is Psalms 119, verse 162. Psalms 119, '62. At midnight I will rise to give thanks unto thee, because thy righteousness judgments. Psalms 119, verse 162. Salakia, Psalms 119, 162. Psalms 119, 162. Salakia, my bad. I rejoice at thy word, as one that find great spoil. I rejoice at that word, as thou find great spoil. Because if you really seeking the Most High to your benefit, if you heard that there was a deep treasure and there was money in it, you know what I'm saying, a lot of money in that deep treasure, what would you do? You do your best to try to get the blueprint to that, where that treasure is. So in that same way, you dig the treasure of the Most High's word, and you'll be blessed from that. And that would be your source of joy, because now we're on the source of joy. Okay? In Joshua chapter 118. Joshua chapter 118. Joshua chapter 118. Whosoever he be that doth rebel against the commandment, and will not hearken unto thy words, and all that thou commands him, he shall be put to death. Only be strong and of good courage. So when we do that, it's a source of joy. You know, when we seek the Most High, we study, and we fellowship with the brothers, and we meditate upon this word, it'll bring a source of joy in our lives. And also too, if you go back to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15, which was the blessings, and then you have the curses, you'll see that if we would have meditated on the Most High's word and kept his commandments, all the blessings would have came to us. You know, but now that you see that we didn't meditate on that, so we don't have that source of joy in our lives. You know what I'm saying? Because we follow the way of the heathen. So that's a good thing right there. That's the source of joy. When you ponder and you meditate on these scriptures, it brings restraint to your life, which is a beautiful thing, a good thing. It brings God to your life, and it brings a source of joy in your life. And that's it on source of joy. But there's way more scriptures than that, but due to the time of the video. Now the next one is a standard of conduct. A standard of conduct. Now we all know what a standard of conduct is. How the way a man should carry himself. Especially a man of Israel. A man that's calling himself keeping the commandments. A man out there that knows the laws to the best of his ability. You know, It should be a certain conduct or way you should carry yourself. And we're going to go over a couple of scriptures on that. Titus 2:7. Titus chapter 2, verse 7. In all things, showing thyself a pattern of good works, and doctrine, showing corruptness, gravity, and sincerity. Read that again. Titus 2:7. In all things and everything you do. So that means when you at the camp, you carry yourself a certain way, and when you're not around the camp, because remember, Yahweh sees all things. Because, and I'm just paraphrasing it, but in the scriptures he says that what is the eyes of the Lord? It's the angels. So the angels always go back and report the things that we do, whether it's good or bad. That's the eyes of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So you should carry yourself in a certain manner in everything you do, not just fronting in front of people. Oh, you're in camp, you act like I'm a good, strong soldier. I do everything right. Nah, that's fake. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to carry yourself at the camp, in your daily lives, in your job, everything you do. Okay? So, in all things, showing thyself a pattern of good works. And doctrine, what is the doctrine? The doctrine is this word. You know, you got to live up to what you preaching. Uncorruptedness, not being shady. You know what I'm saying? As I just mentioned, gravity and sincerity. Okay, that's just in on that. And then we're going to go to 1 Timothy chapter 4. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12 and 13. Let no man despise thy youth, but be thine example of the believers in word, into the word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, in purity. Till I come, give attendance to reading, to exhortation, to doctrine, this word, teaching. When we on the highways and byways teaching, in verse 14. No, that's it. That's it on that. But till I come, give attendance to reading, to exhortation, to doctrine. And I just wanted to bring out something small. In the compact Zondervan Dictionary, Bible Dictionary, on worship. Just wanted to bring a point on that, on worship. Just bear with me a second. Here it is, worship. Because there's a lot of ways that you can worship, you know, and show appreciation in the Most High. And I wanted to bring that out because I just read 1 Timothy 4:13. Till I come, give attendance to reading, to exhortation, to doctrine. Even when you're reading, you're giving worship to Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shah. You're showing appreciation. But let me read this on worship. Worship means to bow down, to prostrate, to do obeisance to, the honor, reverence, and homage paid to superior beings or powers, whether men, angels, or God. Used especially of divine honors paid to a deity. When given to God, involves acknowledgement of divine perfection, may be private or public, involving occultists. For stages of development in Bible, patriarch worship by building altars and sacrificing. Organized worship in temple, ritual with complex ritual and systems of sacrifice. Synagogue, which began during exile. But here's the point I wanted to make. Christians consisting, or Israelites consisting of preaching, which is one, preaching. When you preach, you're worshiping Yahweh. When you're reading of scriptures, as we just read in verse 13, 1 Timothy 4:13, till I come, give attendance to reading. So it's a small point.